All right, everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday morning in the stock market. Opens in about a half an hour. We're going to go through a bunch of stocks. We're going to check out the indexes, and we're going to see what's going on pre-market here. So let's get right to it. Looking at the futures this morning on the S&P 500, basically flat, down 0.06%. I always think it's funny on the radio when they talk about, oh, the stock market's down 0.06% today. I'm like, just call it flat. It's just flat. 0.06% is really close to zero. So pretty flat here on the S&P 500. Been thinking about lately the S&P breaking these all-time highs at 2878. This is a fairly large base to do it out of. And I haven't done a lot of research on it. So let's do a little bit of analysis. All right, so recently we have this nicely formed uptrend. Right about there, we need to see if this gets broken at some point. I think that would definitely put a pause overall into the markets. Trying to line up that bottom point with something if I can. So I'm hitting a bunch of wicks here. You can kind of see there's an immediate trend line formed here. And encompassing this low point here, I think is usually pretty important. And if you do that, what you end up with is that or that. Which if you look at that, that could take us all the way back out to a later part of next year before we get going again. Which could be possible, but I don't know, we'll have to see. We have a general volume decline here as well on the S&P 500. So I always find that interesting. That's always interesting when you see that. Let's go to time frame setup. Let's go to 3 years. Okay, there we go. So you can see here there's a big run up, and there's a precedent for us going sideways for long periods of time. Actually, if we extend out further, we have to go back out to 2015 for this. Probably encompassing 2013 and 2012. Oh, no, it's 2014. So here's kind of the impetus for a long sideways choppy market. You know, we've already had a couple of big drawdowns. Here we had the drawdowns were a little bit later. We had a round over here for several months, and then one big down draw, another big down draw, putting in a fairly well-defined double bottom. And then kind of off to the races from that particular point. You can see we had a big shakeout. Indices are always difficult to do technical analysis on. Well, not difficult to do analysis on, but they don't always respect the analysis. And so now we're in a situation where we've already had the initial drawdowns, and they were quite brutal. One big one here, coming up to recent highs, actually all-time highs. And we need to see how the market responds to those. And with the general volume and decline here, they could be good. Hope maybe we handle out for a month or two and then maybe proceed higher towards the end of the year. Seasonally, if you take seasonality into account, which in the stock market is a thing, trading from October to May is always more profitable than trading from April to September. And so if we pause out here, this is August, September, October, handling out right there for 2 months would put us right during that sweet spot for a potential run into the end of the year. The seasonality basically comes from the fourth quarter and people, repositioning themselves for the new year. And then you see the weirdness that happens around January. That's kind of like earnings going into the new year, similar to earnings, where you don't know quite what's going to happen. You can run up pretty quick into the end of the year there, but then it does tend to pause and do some funny things. So that's the S&P 500. The Nasdaq, which is the leading index, is already into new highs, continuously into new highs since we broke this same choppy area. You can see right here we rallied into new highs a couple of times and then failed. So we may do something similar here, but not quite. Don't think it's going to happen. I think in 2015 the market was a little different than it is today in 2018. We do have the global tariffs, which could end up giving this economy a headwind. Which, when economies are given headwinds, they tend to consolidate. That's what markets tend to do, at least. But here more recently, we've got NASDAQ kind of churning higher along this 50-day moving average. You do see higher volume on these sell-offs, which is never good. Never good to see high volume sell-offs, low volume rallies. But we do have a series of lower highs, which is bullish, and higher highs, which is also bullish. So until we find an actual double top somewhere, I think you kind of have to go with the market. But right now the NASDAQ flat as well, down 0.04%. And then we got the Russell. Not sure what the futures Russell is. S&P, 5-year treasuries. I don't know if we have Russell. The R? No, that's not a thing. Why would you have a symbol for something but then not have something behind it? I don't understand. Anyway, we can just look at the RUT. I got an idea real quick here, guys. Bear with me a second. Okay. Very, very good. Okay, so back to the Russell 2000. Russell 2000, which has been leading actually even more than the NASDAQ since the beginning of the year, putting in a bit of a rounding top right here. See, there's a double top. You can almost call that a triple top. Probably can call that a triple top. And a subsequent round over. Don't have any volume based on this for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure the Russell knows how many shares are traded. Come on, piece of garbage. Don't know why it does that. When would everyone ever want to zoom in on a little point of the chart? Like, what happens if I were to even do that? Like, if I were to do this? Yeah, I guess it's okay. But still can't control Z out of it. I don't know what the tool is to do that. So setting up for high, lower prices here with this little bear flag, slightly different take than the NASDAQ. Right there, which this looks like it's kind of ready and willing to go up. All right, let's take a look at some of those leading stocks. Go through some IBD stuff. Check out Finviz maybe for a couple of ideas. I came across a good post yesterday in investors.com that had some good talked about the recent breakout of this recent earnings season. Some we've been all over. Paycom. We talked about Paycom on earnings when it broke out. Is this the right article? Yeah, there we go. So there's a bunch of oil companies reporting, which I think are interesting to take a look at. So we've got CRZO. Love it when they do that. Which happens all the time these days, and their tech support is garbage and will never get back with me. All right, so CRZO there, you can see the general uptrend here since this low point. I've got Qs all over the place on the chart. Low point of 11.11 and subsequently rallying higher here, up over 100% to 27.25. Earnings coming up, not really a very well-defined base here. It's kind of a rounding top area, kind of a consolidation area. Nothing really actionable, though, from a price action perspective. It looks like the $30 level, which would be right here. This is kind of your resistance point at this time. If you want to give it to the ultimate high here, you're looking at 31.57 as the high. OAS Petroleum, you can see right there having a very long base. I don't mind this at all. This is actually pretty nice. You got a nice little horizontal trend line here at about 15, and you have a series of higher lows. You can see right there, living within this channel, potentially pausing to maybe break out of it. So that could be something. Go ahead and open that in a new tab. They talk about CLR, which we've discussed here. I'm a fan of CLR, and I have an alert set on it. Kind of waiting to see what happens. There you can see CLR already up from 13 to 62 quite significantly over in about, what was that, 2.5 years. Very good action there. Nice little consolidation setup. Similar to this. Very similar to that base. It's kind of a pause. Let's see if this could be called a cup or flat base. That would be a cup. This actually could be considered what's called a flat base. If you guys don't know what a flat base is, it's where a stock bases and goes down less than 15% before it starts to rally again. And right now it looks like we're right in the middle of that flat base, sitting at 62.70. And if you want to take a potential 20% upside target on that, following IBD style, $84.69 in CLR. That's kind of the price target over here, $84.69. So that's not too bad. And when do they have earnings? They have earnings very shortly. Looks like tomorrow after the market. So we'll see something happen. And WRD, getting support at the 200-day could be good, but I'd much rather be above the 50-day. But look at this volume coming in here. This is very impressive. Big volume on the way up, and then you see the volume starts to reverse on you here with this red candle. So, bit of a volume down here, and on the downside, there's a recent IPO getting support here, and then rallying off of that. Also coming back down to this prior breakdown point, this prior high. Yeah, definitely could be an interesting play here. This would be a bottom buy. So there's your 50-day moving average. Need to get above that 50-day moving average really for things to get going. Also earnings coming out on this one Tuesday after market. I wonder if they schedule them that way on purpose so you can't actually get a beat on anything. OXY Oxy, very nice pattern here. You've got a up thrust from 65 to 85. Nice little bull flag setup, which is pretty rare to see in the stock market. Morning, Paul. Talking about a beautiful little bull flag here in Oxy. Ollie Oxen free up 40% from those recent low areas. Taking out a level of consolidation, which has been forming going back until 18 months, maybe a little more. Give or take, this going back to October. You see that consolidation. There's the breakout, and then there's a nice consolidation. So I would definitely be interested in OXY potentially coming out of this space. I'm going to go ahead and throw an alert up here. So OXY looking very nice right there. And then we've got, there we go, BCEI, Bonanza Creek Energy. These guys were rallying back in the day. Holy crap, look at that gap. Is that a reverse split or something? What the heck's going on there? Go from 42 cents to $30? That's got to be a reverse split. But the volume doesn't change on us. Okay, that's weird. That's weirdness. You don't gap up, what is that? 10-fold, 100-fold, basically. You don't gap up almost 100-fold without a reverse split. That just doesn't happen. And then go nice and sideways. But either way, there's a beautiful long-term cup with handle here. Let's go to the weekly. I have no idea what happened to BCEI. I have no idea. But that's a beautiful little cup. And you've got, I guess technically, depending on where you want to call this a handle, it may not actually have. Technically, the first down week would be its handle. So technically, this would be the handle. And your breakout point would be right here, 37.44, which we haven't gathered steam from. We had a very good Very good breakout day. That was pretty good. That was over. That definitely met breakout criteria on the weekly chart. So did that. And this looks like there's some support here in BCEI. So we got earnings 818. So if the rest of the oil sector, this may go with the rest of the oil sector if Bonanza Creek is doing anything good. You can see earnings here, 27 cents, 67 cents, 40 cents, a dollar. So yeah, really doing good things here, but not really moving for whatever reason. If they did a crazy reverse split, that may be the reason. But this is a very, very deep cup. Actually looks like it is too deep to qualify as a cup. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this gap. That's a little scary. That's a little scary. But overall, I think it's good. I think we'll keep an eye on it, create an alert, just keep an eye on it. Don't know what's going on there. All right, so let's look at some pre-market movers. Got about 14 minutes till the open. I'm looking at Garmin potentially looking really good here. I like this. This is a base on base pattern. I was doing some analysis on this one before bedtime yesterday. Very big base here. Hope everyone can see that. Pretty sure you can. Pretty big base right there, and then another base right on top of it. And so that is pretty good. This means that there's extra accumulation occurring in Garmin. And this is going back years. I'm on the weekly chart. So this goes back 2 years. 2 years and a week. 2 years and 2 weeks. This goes back 2 years and 2 weeks. So a very good base on base pattern. A good potential here for Garmin to make higher highs. Going towards the 76 level would be a potential profit-taking area. Hello, Christina. So not really mad at Garmin here. This does have a pretty good... I like Garmin here. Okay, so I want to get to... I want to see what's doing what. So Tesla recently looks like it's flat. I wonder what's got earnings before. I'm looking for before market movers, so the extreme right side of the chart there. Got a gap down in Celgene. Little gap down. Little gap up in Starbucks. Gap up in Facebook up to 179. Where is that? Is that at $40 for AMBA? Okay, that's good. So Core's not doing much. Core's is what I'm looking at. And nothing so far. What's got earnings? CLR, they're not out yet. Kiwi, YY. I wonder if they have a pre-market movers screen. I'm not sure what's going with that 25 to 60, but no matching symbols because the market's not open yet. You don't do pre-market scans. Darn it, I want a pre-market scan. Hey, Paul. Yeah, thanks, man. So we're gonna have to wait for the open is what it looks like. Let's keep screening for some more potential trades here. Looks like Regeneron. Very nice breakout, which I think we discussed Regeneron too. Very beautiful breakout right there. Looks like they're moving some money back into biotech. Right there. JP Morgan. We also talked about JP Morgan looking pretty healthy right there. breaking out, little consolidation, then a move upward. What else is going on over here? Looking at some stuff on the other screen here. See what SQ's doing. Another Jack Dorsey company. Showing some accelerated volume up here without any further price progress. This is not healthy action. Even though that's a nice pop, you can see the immediate drop after it. And almost the second highest volume. This eclipses it slightly. So this will need a little bit of time to wear off. Definitely need a little bit of time to wear off. Amgen, another one that's working its way higher. That's on the daily. I see right there a semblance of an inverted head and shoulders. It's not that robust. It's a double, not an actual double bottom, but a double bottom shoulder. So there's the reversal there, and then you have a nice consolidation. This may still be buyable, as a matter of fact. Let's take a peek at Amgen here. So when it comes to the stock market, there's a lot of homework to be done. Now, when you're trading, a lot of people think you take a lot of trades, but that's actually incorrect. You want to do a lot more homework versus trades that you actually transact. You know, you should be clicking that button, 0.1% of the time. The other 99.9% of the time, you should be looking at the charts, doing homework, understanding the markets you're trading. In the stock market, there's a lot of homework to do, and a lot of stocks to look at. I mean, cryptos, we're only looking at the same 40, 50 cryptos, and we pretty much cycle through most of those every single day. That's not too bad to handle. In the stock market, there's a lot going on. There's pre-market and post-market. Like my daily chart doesn't show aftermarket. I may be able to show that action now that I think about it. There may be a setting in here, but I'm not sure if that's really warranted or even healthy. I'm not quite sure if that's healthy on the on that particular one. But nice consolidation coming out of a little decline here. That's not too bad. Looks like that's your handle. Here's your cup. There's your handle. So technically it's already broken out. And it's a little past your buy range of about 5%. So a little consolidation for Amgen is after earnings. Probably could get involved here as an add-on point. It looks like I've already got a target line here. I can go ahead and move that to this breakout point of 227 on Amgen. Plug it into my calculator over here. Look at some options trades. $227 is not bad for Amgen. Not bad at all. Got about 215. And then we're going to take 207. It's a little more reasonable on Amgen. Okay, so there's Amgen. I wonder what Riot's doing. That just popped into my head. Definitely not nearly as low as it was. When we were talking about it, guys, it was all the way down here at $4 when we were talking about Riot in regards to that. Remember that big trade, Paul and Christina? Pandora. We can take a look at Pandora. PND. Forget the symbol. Oh, it's just P? Oh, that's weird. So definitely not a cup with handle. A cup with handle requires a prior uptrend. You can see, you could also, well, this is actually coming from a prior uptrend. This cup with handle failed, as a matter of fact. I'm not sure which golden cross you're referring to. The 200 days up here and the 50 days down here. So technically that's not a golden cross. what you have here is a basically a bottom buy. If you want to call this an island bottom, I'm not going to be super mad at you. If you go to the daily, it may actually be one. Yep, that is an island bottom. They're fairly rare. They do imply reversals. This is a bottom. There's a gap, big gap here, island bottom right there. So could have potentially bought on that trend line down at 550. So up here, what you have is a little consolidation, really nothing more. Oh, I was on the weekly, Paul. I'm sorry. That was a weekly chart. This is a daily chart. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the weekly chart. So Golden Cross is good. I mean, I'm not mad at that. It's not a triggerable event though. Typically, your Golden Cross actually happened back here. It's 735, so you're only up 50 cents from that. It's not too bad, but I would wait for the breakout here on volume. It just had earnings, so let the market get you into the position if you're interested. Golden Cross is a footnote more than a main feature, although it is good that it is above the 50-day moving average. To me, the 50-day is kind of the yes or no line. If it's below the 50-day, I will probably not get involved with it unless it's in a very large, different kind of long consolidation. But in a situation like this, as long as it's above the 50-day, I'm not mad at it at all. And the fact that 200 is below the 50 is a good thing. So right now what we have is this little trend line that this needs to get broken on volume before you can really get interested, I think. I won't buy these. I won't anticipate these at all. That's kind of my 2 cents on that. But, you know, where potentially could Pandora go? Okay, so I'm going to try to fix my charts once and for all. Okay, we're going to do 40. We're also going to set up time for 3 years on the daily. I'm going to save the daily. Hopefully that fixes my daily charts everywhere because that's been annoying. So where can Pandora go? Well, it looks like sky's the limit. It can go up here to $10, and there's a support level right there. So that would be a fairly large move, percentage-wise. Oh, only about 18%, never mind, from the breakout point. Now, in stocks, it's pretty important to get it right at the breakout point. Wherever that momentum starts to come in, it's fairly important. So, you know, if you want to set an alert here, I'll set an alert on Pandora. That's not too bad. So you set your alert there. Whenever that goes, you assess the market pretty quick, and you move. And you can see right there, $10 could be some pretty good resistance. It's also a big round number, which can provide some psychological resistance as well. So let's take a look at Pandora on my options chains. And it's okay. Not too bad, not too good. Not great. Gotta run, but we'll watch later. Okay, well, go ahead and mark it right about the half hour mark here, Tareg. Or Tarug. I'd like to pronounce your name correctly. Tarug sounds a little more like it. UEC, NXE, I'm assuming these are Canadian stocks. No. UEC didn't work. Oh, there it did. It did. I must have mistyped it. Okay. Oh, so my weekly didn't... I fixed this last night. Apparently not good enough. Oh, no, I went to 3 years on that. Okay, so this is correct. So I do believe uranium's going through a little bit of a bull run here. The problem is this is a pretty wide pattern. I'm not a big fan of these big wide patterns. I mean, this is going to encompass quite a bit of price range here. That's a 22% range. Oh, we got a market open. Let's go check out the open. What do we got here immediately? Point to the bears, but not much at all. We got CAR here. We got CASA. SSNC, which yesterday was Friday, I should say, was a big market runner. Not much happening in a lot of things. Always got to keep an eye on Twitter, which unfortunately looks like it's bear flagging out here. That's always crappy. Well, Paul, I employ a certain option strategy, and I've got a tool that I use that kind of helps me assess for my strategy what I do. I'm not really ready to teach that at this moment in time. I want to see kind of what the market is for stocks and kind of my analysis before I get involved in doing stuff like that. Options carry a huge amount of risk. And so it's a massive amount of risk. Like I just took a pretty big loss on Twitter. I held through earnings like a dumbass and got pretty obliterated on my Twitter position here. So, there's other reasons options are bad too. It's a big thing. So I'm not going to throw a half-ass strategy out there so people can get hurt by it, because that's pretty much what's going to happen. That much I can guarantee you. If 1,000 people look at it, 950 or 60 of them will get really hurt by what I say, and the others may be flat. So, but pretty much I just look at the options, and I end up, I run my little screener there. Hillary started the uranium bull run with Uranium One. What's Uranium One? How did I miss that one? Okay, so we got here down 2% this morning. Nothing too bad, though. They have earnings coming up here pretty soon. 8.6. Oh, today, aftermarket. So you're seeing a little bit of weirdness in relation to earnings. People taking some risk off the table. Fairly normal. We got Alexa. I used to know what that means. ALXN. I don't know what that company means anymore. MU. I've been looking at MU for a while now. So far, no, looking like it's ready to go up. Let's see what the Qs are doing. Down 0.15%. Not doing a whole lot. So we see Twitter down there. Celgene. So not too many breakouts, at least from my list. We had Anfi, which is up 3%. That's the biggest one. That's really not a big gainer. So far, a nothing day. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out the next 30 minutes. But maybe Anfi gets going based off of that trend line break. Not my usual trade by any stretch of the imagination. But, talking about a potential low risk trade for Anfi. Maybe a run can take you up to a little run up here to 216 for 10. That's about a 1-to-1 risk reward right there. Running up to their 219. Eek. Nu Skin, there we go. Okay, Nu Skin rallying. So this is probably buyable. Okay, Nu Skin's probably buyable. So this has been in a big run. IBD was talking about this yesterday as well. I was reading in a few articles. So where's our 20% run up here? To 100. It's at 101, but it's never going to get to 100. It may stop at 98. They tend to do that. They'll stop at 98. Wow, that's impressive. Let's take a peek here. Yeah, not looking really great there. It would definitely have to happen before. Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. But if you guys aren't trading options and are doing stocks, Nu Skin does look really good right here. I would. It's leading the market today, so it's a possibility it can keep going. Huge volume off of earnings. Nu Skin looking really, really good. Volume so far today. I know the market just opened 5 minutes ago, but you've got volume of about 58,000. Average is 400,000. So I don't know if you can extrapolate much based off of that. Probably not yet. There's also a trick in the markets to kind of exploring volume. If you break the market up into, is it 6, 13 half-hour periods, or it's 7? I think it's 7 half-hour periods. Once we reach 7 o'clock here, or half hour after the market open, you can probably try to extrapolate volume after that. Okay, so we got Tima's popping up here a little bit. Another leader today. I've got a trend line drawn there, it looks like. Okay, big trend line drawn in Timas. See if this is on my watch list. Doesn't look like it is. So not a watch list stock for me, but I have drawn a couple trend lines on this before. And we got Whiting Petroleum coming back out of lows. I'm waiting for Whiting to break this 56 level right here before this goes. We got GDS. Whoa, whatever. That's not good. EDU rallying through lows. Not interested in that. We got CAR. We got Plug. CAR rallying off of lows. There's GDS again. There's Fox again. I do like this basin. Oh, this is a ANET. Okay, cool. So this is Arista Network. And this already had earnings the other day. So this is good. Post earnings, you're seeing a bit of a tightening action here. We need to maintain this. We need to maintain this pattern, this range going forward. And I do have an alert set right here for ANET in case this thing does get going. This could be another case of a low risk entry, but this is definitely an anticipation trade, and this is a risky trade. Again, anticipating, usually not something that's done. But in a potentially low risk environment, if we can maintain these lows, this is a very low risk. You've got about a 2.6% stop to these recent lows, which is pretty healthy, and after earnings. So hopefully it can get going there. But you can see the big reaction after earnings there. Again, you need to see if you're interested in taking on something like this. But the options from here looking pretty healthy, at least for me. So I will say this about options, because that's the strategy. That's my main strategy, is trading options. The time component, as far as when your option expires, is huge, and there's also a premium component, which is the other huge part. There's two major downfalls to options. It's the expiration date and the premium that you pay over the intrinsic value of the option. Basically, what that means is that we're sitting at $260 here. If you were to buy a $270 call, and let's say you buy it for, I'm just throwing a number out there, $5, you're paying that $5, and so you have to get to $275 in order for that option to be break even by expiration. Okay, so there's kind of the, so there's the thing. So if you buy a $270 option that expires in 2 weeks, you need to make sure it gets above $275 if you buy that $270 option. So there's a lot that goes into it. So that's kind of, those are the main two pitfalls to options. You have to be right in the direction and right about the time that it moves in your direction. Under 6,900 in Bitcoin. Oh, interesting. See if we get bought up right here. This may be a good counter trend play. Counter trend move there in Bitcoin. I actually just bought a little bit of Bitcoin. I don't think this base is quite done yet. It's come down quite a bit from those highs in Bitcoin. So don't quite think we're just heading lower from here. Probably going to bounce back up towards 7,000. I don't know. That's just, very tight stop loss on this potential trade. Or it'll make a new low and then bounce back up. But I don't know. Seems like we're getting a flurry of buy orders in here. So I just took like I said, a little bit of position in Bitcoin. We'll see what happens with that. I just, for some reason, don't think this is done. Last night before I took a short, it was just breaking that declining trend line, but the volume wasn't coming in. It looks like it broke about 2 hours after I went to bed to the downside, so I missed out on a good trade there. But I was watching it. I did it, Paul. It's a counter trend trade. Again, we talked. If are you a member of you're a member of the other Power Hour, right, Paul? So we did a really good thing on shorting yesterday, and kind of the inverse is true when it comes to buying bottoms. So anyway, yeah, I mean, there's been a bunch of spike lows, just a small trade, nothing. I mean, I'm not going to lose much at all. I'll probably lose like 5 or 6% on my quarter position on something I have 5% of my account in. So it's not really a big risk. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program there. So Anfi, Nu Skin, like I said, Arista down here. Well, okay, you can always watch the recordings, Paul. Yesterday's was a gem. Yesterday's was really good. I'm gonna make that. I'm actually editing it right now to make that part of the Power Hour its own standalone video. So pretty good there. But I do like ANET. I'm really waiting for this thing to move. That's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. But let's see. Okay, I have an ANET trade up here at the 270 March. Yeah, the thing with ANET is that it's such a big base. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so what do we got here? Anfi, TMS, AMN. What's that guy? Ooh, something I'm not interested in. Nu Skin. We talked about Nu Skin a little bit earlier today. Still working. Nu Skin. Cores. I'm looking at cores as well here with a big flat base. I believe this does qualify as a flat base. Almost qualifies as a flat base. It's undercut. Yeah, this one never undercut anything. This never undercut that low. So we're still well within the base pattern here. We got earnings coming up in cores on 8/8 before market. So that means tomorrow is your last day to, I don't know, watch it before earnings. There's nothing to do before earnings in the stock market. It's kind of how that rolls. And Bitcoin not really bouncing much. Okay, maybe time to get out of that. We'll see. But if it's not breaking down, that's a good thing. Let's go to FinViz. FinViz is always a good scan to make, and not 15 minutes after the open, so we don't have anything going on right now on FinViz, unfortunately. Okay, 2 more minutes, and then we'll have something on FinViz. Everything's got a 15-minute market delay on it, just to screw you even more if you're cheap. That's kind of how that works. Yeah, boring morning today, guys. Boring Monday. Boring. Okay, let's get to Tarugs. We got UEC here. Sorry, Tarug. We got UEC. Definitely interesting here. Uranium Energy Corporation. All right, Paul. Take it easy, buddy. So uranium right there looks like 181 is a resistance level. That level needs to break, and on good volume for this to move forward. Kind of I'm looking at UEC NXE. Actually, not mad at the NXE. Nexium Energy. Don't know much about this one, but it has a very nicely formed, kind of a declining wedge feel to it. Not quite sure. It looks like, let's call this a flat. We'll call this a descending wedge, actually. We'll omit these 2 spikes to the downside. Good bottom buying there. Good buying there. And this could get going. Let's see if we can get more time here. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what this is. Is this over the counter? Um, I'm not sure where this trades, but the volume generally increasing over the years. Looks like no splits, so that's good. That's potentially pretty good right there. Let's look at NXE on Finviz. It is in the NYSE, so that's good. It's on the NYSE. Small market cap, 600 and... Let's pull Finviz into your guys' viewpoint so you can see this. So 648 million market cap, very small cap. Only minor institutional ownership. Insider ownership is okay. For something this small, you actually would expect more institution or insider ownership, I think. Don't know why we're not getting EPS numbers out of this thing. That's always a little concerning. Not a lot of short float. Huh, okay. Interesting guy there. So potential, no, looks like no options in NXE at all. And what was the other one? U. Four U's? 4U's. Wow, that's impressive. So you have a very, well, here's a level that was broken. Looks like we had another level here that was broken. So that's good. I do like that. Great volume. That's fantastic. What's U about? $247 million market cap. EPS only 31% next year, 57% this year. Doesn't give you... I hate these when they don't give you a lot of information. You can look it up on Finviz if you want to, but right now it's not doing a heck of a lot. Breaking out of these levels is healthy. So right now into these highs, big pullback here. Not sure if I'd be super interested right here. It's well extended. This could have been, this was probably your best buy point right here at the 221 level. You'd already be up about 50%. You need to buy these out of a base. You don't chase these. So actually, here's a cup with handle. That's exactly what this is. Here's your cup here. There's your handle. You have a failed breakout, but it never undercuts the low of the handle, although that probably would have been a deep percentage cut. Yeah, 14%. You would have had to take a stop there, but if you would have kept on it, you could have bought back over this high and then never been stopped out, more than likely. Yep, you never would have been stopped out buying there. So there's your good buy point right here. And we came back down to it and tested it a couple of times, and off to the races we go. So there's your good buy point. At this moment in time, you need to wait for another base to form in this before you can buy this safely. You can buy stuff whenever you want, guys. It's just a matter of just the fact of whether it's a safe buy or if it's a gamble. And this is a gamble here. All right, you're up 50% from the good breakout point, so you're gambling right there. But not doing bad. I mean, overall, you look at all this volume. I mean, this is great volume. This is awesome, coming out of nothing. So this is one to keep an eye on at 247 million. Don't know what's going on with it. Okay, all these are uranium companies, it looks like. So maybe there's some hedge funds, some institutional traders putting some money to work. Okay, June 25th looks like this joined the Russell 3000 index, and so that's probably the main catalyst for this. This cup with handle was probably, you know, some accumulation and a run up to that, and then you have the actual move. So there you go, you. Keep an eye on that one. I'll keep an eye on it. Why not? And we got here down 4% now. Huya. Let's look at. Haven't looked at Huya for a while. Huya. Twitter made a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a comeback, I should say. Don't anticipate Garmin's doing much. What is Garmin doing? Up 0.19%, basically flat, holding very nice and tight up here towards this potential entry point. You can see the volume, the flurry of volume right there. I really like this, guys. I really like this Garmin play. Earnings have already passed. Had a good reaction on earnings. Needs to get going, but it's looking really healthy up here. Right now, it's probably the nicest one I've seen that hasn't broken out. As we saw the other day, Paycom, huge move, which just up a tremendous amount. I mean, you're up 15%, and it was up there in 2 days. It was up there in 2 days. We caught that at the open, as a matter of fact. So that's working out pretty good for anyone that bought that. I actually did not, for some stupid reason. That's what happens when I do these live streams. The same thing happens in crypto, is I'm always too busy trying to do a decent live stream. I forget my trades, and Paycom was one that I forgot about. We saw it here at the open, and it just kept rocketing, and I'm like, why the hell didn't I buy this thing? Why the hell didn't I buy this thing? So I didn't buy Paycom. What was another one that moved that we were looking at? I wasn't as interested as I was Paycom. I was really, really liking Paycom. I don't remember. TMS is T-Mobile. Okay, so there's your nice base on T-Mobile. Not really quite breaking out yet, though. SSYS, rounding bottom pattern, rounding top. Could be interesting if the 3D printer space gets going. So what's DDD doing? Oh, it's right behind it, up 177. Not a major chart pattern, though. It tried to have a rally here and break out of this pattern. It failed. AMN, DDD, Weibo. There's a trend line I've got here in Weibo. Not broken yet. There's our buddy ANET. We're waiting for this one to go next. Very similar to Paycom. I'm not expecting, but I would like this to do something similar. Although we've already had earnings, it wasn't as nearly as good. Okay, when my things are jumping around here. So there's Cron living lower, not healthy. Proto Labs, that's what I wanted to look at. So Proto Labs, not really a base formed up here. It's kind of gyrating around. That's usually indicative of distribution, a lot of which means institutional selling, basically. How's Now doing? We talked about a Now bottom buy the other day, and it looks like that may have worked out pretty well if you would have taken that trade. So we discussed the bottom buy. I think over here after earnings, right down here, I think it was on a green day here, maybe this one, for a potential bottom buy. And now going back up here could have given you about 10%. So I think what we were discussing, even if it was up here, still giving yourself a good 9-10%. So that's not bad on Now, if you're interested in a trade like that. So yeah, but now just marching upward, guys, just moving. EPAM, ooh, big spike down there. Big break of the 50-day moving average, so that's a no-go in my world. And Booking, which used to be not Travelocity. What's the other one that I don't know why they changed their name to Booking. For crying out loud, I can't remember their name. But yeah, this is the stock that will never die. This thing was at like $50 at one point in time. Hi Justin, how you doing? Yeah, there you go. $6 into 2000. Stupid freaking thing. I mean, look at that thing. This has been in an uptrend for about ever. This thing has always been in an uptrend. It seems. I mean, the recession just looks like a blip. Just looks like a blip on this thing. Look at all these holders from down here. I mean, man, that's a stupid amount of money. That's a 10x in 8 years. I mean, if you go in here if you're buying down here in the $10 range, I mean, it's just stupid what has happened in this company. But these guys never go down. Not yet. Not yet. So again, probably anticipating another breakout here because these guys always move. EPAM, WLL. TWOU. And again, I have these things sorted by percentage, so it's like trying to catch a chicken sometimes when these things when these things are all about the same price. I'm always like if I'm looking for WLL, I gotta find it. It's gotta be quick with the mouse, guys. Quick with the mouse. And see, I wasn't looking. I was looking to type on cron. What's Apple doing today? Living life higher. No one is selling Apple. Priceline, that was what that company was called. Priceline, which is now booking also. Priceline and Apple. My God. And Amazon. Holy shit, man. Just tons and tons of money. So there's T-Mobile. I really do like this T-Mobile chart. I really like this T-Mobile chart. The question is, I'm not sure if it's going to give you enough of a run for your money in my particular style to make it worthwhile. Too much premium built into these options, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's looking like it's at about 78 bucks. No, it's actually not too bad. If it can get going by the new year, that's actually not bad. Even giving it to February isn't too bad, but it's pretty aggressive trading to get good fills on this. I wouldn't mind doing 67. Interesting there. Mike's not broken. I'm just sitting here looking at potential trade in T-Mobile. Pretty good risk reward. You're looking at least I'm looking at a pretty decent gain here. It also hasn't broken out, which is always the risk. Anytime you buy in the base, it's always really difficult. So still quite a bit of premium built into these options. So T-Mobile probably the most healthy mover of the day. ANET looking, excuse me guys. I still like this ANET trade. I know we haven't broken out yet. It's not my style, but it is kind of a bottom buy towards the 50-day. I'm actually not mad at that at all. So I've got let's see here. I've got a trade here with a break even of 307, which is still pretty high. Still pretty high there. I do like it though. Overall, I do like it. That didn't break down on earnings at all. So I do like that ANET trade here. Just need to ask myself if I'm breaking any rules if I try to take it. Can't break your rules, guys. Can't break your rules. See what Fizz is up to. Fizz is marginally higher. We talked about Garmin. Man, Garmin looks good. I've got IQ on my list. I've got Cores on my list. Some reason Walmart's on my list. Don't ask me why. Nice rounded bottom in Walmart. EC is one that I've been looking at here recently. Hasn't really undercut any bases. So, not too bad. What's up, Nick? Yeah, right. Can't forget the rules. Can't forget the rules at all. Excuse me. Oh, I got a Dan Zanger email here this morning. Oh, okay, he just posted it all in StockTwits too. I've already seen all these. Regeneron, Stitch Fix. Oh, let's look at Stitch Fix. I was looking at that the other day. SFIX. Yeah, Stitch Fix. We looked at this the other day too, guys. Remember? We talked about the pullback. There's good support on the 50-day. This could be a pretty decent entry point. Earnings are due out at the end of August. That's what Dan says. So he says he's avoiding for now. I know why. I know how Dan trades, which is great. I love how Dan trades. I'm not mad at Dan at all. But very good low volume. I would say keep an eye on STIT or SFIX. I don't know. Do I have that in here? Looks like I don't have it in here. Now I do. Okay, good. So Stitch Fix actually looking really healthy. Declining volume in this little basing area. We'll see which way. This could be a little diamond bottom right there, in which case maybe we get to 35 in some fairly quick fashion. Look at all that volume coming off of those earnings. They really liked that last earnings call. I mean, we went up about 60% on that. So good pullback, a lower high. This is a natural place for it to have some support above the 50-day. If it can maintain above the 50-day, I think that would be very healthy. However, at the same time, it could chop under the 50-day down about 21% from those highs. This would be good for a nice cup with handle. Probably wait for that base to form actually. So I don't want to. I don't know if I want to front run that. The time aspect is always important as well. Looks like Google has a little mini consolidation point right here that could be good buy off of if you're interested in that. Do need to have good volume. Look at the volume decline, very healthy right here. I don't mind that one bit. So yeah, if it can get above that 1247 level in Google, that could be good for, good $50. Maybe a little more than that. Did come down here, fill this gap quite nicely. You can see that almost touches that low. So pretty good there in Google. I like it. Okay. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Not much going on today. There's a few things we're looking at. T-Mobile climbing to the top of the charts here today. Look at that. Bam. T-Mobile, maybe it gets going. It's after earnings. Maybe it wants to go. Maybe it wants to go. I do like it. I do like it. Volume here looks really good. This could be a good day for T-Mobile. This could be a really, really good day for T-Mobile here. Well, unless this reverses, but so far it's been pretty good, and I'm enjoying the action in this one. Look at the 5-minute. Yep, straight. Look at that volume, guys. This is good. This is good. I think I may take a. It's front running. I don't know. I don't know if I'm FOMOing into a position or not, but this is going to be a good volume day here today. May have another couple down days, but let's kind of see what's what. We've watched this thing. This did start out like 5th or 6th, slowly rallying higher. You can see a lot of the market now up 2 and 3%, where when we opened, we were up 1% in a few names. What's my T-Mobile target here? looking at $78. Thoughts on Tesla or Facebook? Man, everyone just likes the sexy stocks. How come you guys are stuck on those? So I think Tesla kind of blew out on earnings. Everyone really liked what they did. Tesla's probably going to do pretty good from here. Nice gap. I don't think that will get filled. I don't think that gap will be filled. That gap will remain open. So I had kind of this trend line here. We broke it. You probably could take some positions in Tesla here, to be honest with you. And Facebook was looking pretty good. Maybe come back to fill that gap. So starting to go higher. If it gets above these highs here, if it gets above these levels, then you can probably start taking positions. But I don't know if I would front run it in this environment. But, it's been a week. I think everyone already forgot about Facebook. Everyone's already forgotten about it. So, but yeah, if it gets over, it starts to fill this gap, I think you could get interested. But you need to wait for volume to get heavier on the daily. You need to wait for something to get you in. Like I'm looking at T-Mobile here. I mean, it's leading the market, at least on my spreadsheet right now. So you need to wait for that volume to look like it's going to increase. So far, I'm not sure if you have that much of a expectation for that. Wow, SeaWorld going up 16% today for some weird-ass reason. United States Antimony Corporation? Never heard of that. I'm looking at Finviz right now on the other screen. So if you guys go to Finviz, finviz.com, you can take a look at it. I'm just scrolling through the ones on the left. Bemis Company, wow. What the heck are you doing? HCA, big rally in HCA from 110 up 20% very quickly. That is amazing. Guys, you don't always have to be involved in those sexy stocks. You want good quality stocks with good quality patterns. And look at that thing. That's tremendous. Okay, so T-Mobile here, really liking this T-Mobile trade. I mean, it's just rocketing higher right now. The volume is going to be very nice today. It's after earnings, so there's nothing scary coming up that we can see. Only good things ahead. Looks like it beat earnings. Probably had a good conference call too. Coming up pretty close to that trend line. I'm probably already a little past a point where a buy would be healthy and warranted. So there's ANET. How are we doing in terms of our little bottom buy here is probably getting away from us. Wow. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be back tomorrow. So join us again. We start about a half hour before the market opens, going to about a half hour after the market opens. And that's about it, guys. So thanks very much for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow.